Hi, my name is Beverly. I'm a park ranger at Dayton Aviation Heritage National Historical Park. I'm also a proud African American and a keeper of our nation's history. Now, if you were to visit me at the park, I would tell you stories about the lives of the Wright brothers and Paul Laurence Dunbar, a pioneering African American poet and author. But in this extraordinary time, I want to talk about a different story. It's a story that for me is both painful and sadly a common American story. It's my story. In 1983, I was walking home from work when I was unexpectedly stopped by a white police officer. The officer stopped me because I was out of place. And I was out of place because I was walking in an all-white neighborhood. I had recently moved there because of my job, and I was the only face of color around. He pointedly asked me what I was doing, and I explained that I only lived a few blocks away. But he didn't believe me. In fact, he insisted that I get in the back seat of his patrol car so that he could drive me home. As I sat in the back seat of that patrol car, the metal divider between him and I, he kept peppering me with questions. Why was I walking? What was I doing? Why had I paused for a moment in front of a house that I had just walked by? Where did I work? When did I move into the area? On and on, those type of questions went as he slowly drove the blocks that I could just as easily have walked. But I knew why he drove me home, and I also knew why he sat in his patrol car and watched me until that front door opened. I remember thinking, thought you had me, didn't you? Thought I was lying. Thought I wasn't going to be able to open up this door. I was angry. I was angry at being stopped. I was angry at being put in the back of a patrol car. I was angry that I had been questioned and my answers weren't believed. But I knew better than to show my true feelings at that time. As Paul Laurence Dunbar wrote, we wear the mask that grins and lies. Though that incident took place decades ago, it still resonates today. The over-policing of African American citizens like me is rooted in the belief that black people cause their own problems, that black people are the problem. It's the reason why I found myself in the back seat of a patrol car and why George Floyd found himself beneath the knee of a white police officer. Slavery, Jim Crow laws, racial violence, economic inequality, and just plain old indifference has created a society that does not believe in the value of black lives. As our nation reflects on the murder of George Floyd, I would like to believe that as Americans, we're moving towards greater inclusion and equality. African American history is complex. It's full of stories of triumph and tragedy, of resistance and hope. And these stories can be found throughout our national parks, from African burial grounds in New York City to Martin Luther King Jr. in Atlanta, Georgia, and here in Dayton, Ohio, where my fellow rangers and I want to share, learn, and listen. Talk to us about the Wright brothers and Paul Laurence Dunbar and their legacy. Talk to us about the inspirational stories and the difficult ones as well. Talk to us about West Dayton and the stories of inequality within our community. Talk to us about George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, and so many voices that have been silenced. As stewards of history, our history, my fellow Rangers and I consider it our responsibility and a privilege to be able to keep these stories alive. Together, we all can make a better and safer world. Thank you.